I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, everyone. It's Todd Scrima and the lovely Robyn LaVassaur and the GOAT Jimmy Reed, and we're talking to loan officers today about how to add more new realtors to your business. So I'll start out with three things, and then we'll go around the horn and just discuss this. These are not the only three things, but if you here's how I think about this. You move me to another state. What would I do to go get realtors? What I would do is, first of all, pull a list of productive realtors that fit my demographic. So mine would be, hey, they got to do 6 or more buy-sides in the last 12 months. So I know that I have a database of 500 people that would allow me to do that. And there's a lot of ways to build that database. You can export it from Modex. You can export it from Realtor.com. You can get it from your title company. You can pay a VA overseas $3 an hour to find their social media stuff, their emails, their cell phone numbers. If whatever's missing, you can hire it out. And that's the first thing I would do. And I would get that done in a few days. And then I would find one way to add value to them. And just because people get lost on the add value, if I spoke Spanish, I would market myself as the I-10 king, and my realtors would be 500 realtors that speak Spanish, that do 6 or more buy-sides. And I would promote myself that way. It could be, hey, I learned how to make a lot of money doing open houses. So I would promote, hey, let me help you work an open house and get more buyers for you, right? And I could go on and on. We have one of my clients is promoting a loan program that gives a bunch of guarantees so the realtor gets twice the number of accepted offers. I think that's a great program. What's important is that you pick something that's important to them, that's important to the target market, which always involves more money. So they are 100% commission. There's about 2% of Americans that work on 100% commission. We are crazy enough to be those people, and we are in constant fear of not making money. So the offer is always about them making more money. Then I would call 10 a day. I would set up 2 appointments a day. And I would follow the 2-step close, which is how to build rapport and find out really what they want. I would give it to them, and I would pick up a couple accounts a week. And in no time, I would be closing some decent amount of loans. That's what I would do. But when you look at all those things, target marketing, add-in value, calling 10 people a day, and 2-step closing them. And when you say all that, it's easy to say, but we live in a world where the average loan officer has 2 to 4 accounts referring them. But we've been doing this for 10 or 15 years. And I said, but when I was in corporate America, I had 40 accounts that they gave me. And then they said, your job is to get 20 more in a year. And so that was my job. And so the first year I did it, I got 32 new accounts. And so I won Salesperson of the Year out of 40 people working part-time through college. That's why they gave me Salesperson of the Year, because I picked up the most accounts. Account acquisition is the whole name of the game. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff we got to do. I understand that, but you got to spend a few hours a day doing this one. And if you do that, you're going to make $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, $1 million a year. That's my answer. Robyn, what do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I think just the way that you explained that, this is where we're a little bit lost, and I can get lost in this. You notice that as you're talking about it, Todd, it doesn't mean you don't care about the realtor relationship, that you don't want to get into a relationship, all of those things, but you're very good at differentiating a plan that is simply logic-driven, following the path, and knowing that if you do that consistently, the results will be X, right? It's like, when in math, I don't know if this is something that'll land for you guys, but when they're teaching you math and all of a sudden they put X plus Y equals on there and there's no numbers and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. But I feel like you do such a good job of just taking that out and saying, hey, do this, which will create this. I am the queen of buddy selling forever. We talked about that on one of our podcasts, right? And thinking like, oh, I'll just hang out with agents, right? Like I'll hang out and get business that way. And you're not wrong. I think everyone these days, between the internet, between all the things, access to people, phones, the disconnect that can be had. People are looking for either value or they're looking for simply speed, right? Speed and, price and those things. And I think executing a plan with the agents, like you just said, is, does that make sense what I'm saying? Like,
what she's saying is that so many of us worry about the relationships that are going to have to be maintained after all that work, that we're scared to do the work.
Yes.
That's what she's trying to say.
Yes.
Well, I'm not saying it's valid. It's completely inflicted pain because it's not really that difficult. But it's the thinking of the what if and what then that stops people from acting. It's like we're talking about the difference between successful people and not successful people. Overthinking it, right? Like, I was watching something and it said successful people make decisions really quickly. And then if it's wrong, they fix it along the way. And other people think about wanting the perfect decision and then executing it, and they never can get to the perfect decision. That's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is. I also think when I explain this stuff, people, what they hear is lack of relationship. So let me explain that.
Yeah, lack of experience, transactional. That's what people hear.
If you're dating these days, people use online dating. That's how they meet people, right? So the hook is what? The value is what?
The picture.
The picture. Oh, that person's, man, so beautiful, right? Man or woman. You sweat. But then the sales process starts when?
You read the words and talk to them on the phone.
You got to talk to them on the phone. And if you talk to them on the phone and you're able to build rapport, relationship, you seem to have common beliefs and values, you seem to have some things in common, and you don't stick your foot in your mouth and say weird stuff like, you make some people do this in the sales setting all the time. But let's say you do it right, then you get a chance to go on a date. And then if you're impressive during the date and you develop stronger rapport, which is relationship, then you'll continue to go on a date if you both feel the same. But if all those things don't match up, it ain't going to work. But you can't go on one date a year and expect to find your ideal person. That's not how it works, nor does it work in business. So if you meet with 10 people, as charming as the three of us are, if I met with 10 people, Jimmy, how many people are we going to hit it off? Like I'm talking hit it off.
Yeah. Well, it's 10-3-1, buddy. You talk to 10, 3 are going to say they're going to meet you. One's going to show up and maybe that's it, no matter how good you are.
I agree with that. So I meet with 10. I might really hit it off and start doing business with 1 or 2.
Yes.
That's just how it works. Now, the other thing I'll tell you about all this, when we go back to target marketing, when I learned all this a couple years ago, let me tell you this story. This blew my mind. I was at an event for one of my coaches that I had hired about marketing. This guy taught handstands. $10,000 to learn how to do handstands. I swear to God.
Jimmy's wife can do some really good handstands. She's really good at handstands.
He looked a lot better than whatever this dude looked like. I guarantee it.
So this guy piped up a couple times in this group. And so I ended up befriending him and taking him to dinner. And he said he made $600,000 a year teaching handstands after expenses. Swear to God. So we go to dinner. And I'm like, dude, first of all, I talked to him about numbers. I'm like, how many clients last year? I'm doing the math in my head. What's your overhead? All the math matched up. He did a little over $1 million in gross income. And his overhead was like $30,000 a month. He netted 600. Okay, so now I know he's telling the truth. And I have a pretty good BS meter. So handstands. Now listen,
we're not going to be a kid school teacher no more. We're going handstands. We're going handstands.
He was, so I said, what happened? How long you been doing this? 8 years. I said, how long you been making $500,000-$600,000 a year? Last 3 years. I said, what changed? He says, I was starving. I said, what changed? He said, I found the list. I said, what list are you talking about? He says, I was able to put together a list of all the people in Cirque du Soleil all across the world and all of the managers for Cirque. I don't know if you guys know this, but Cirque du Soleil is all over the world. Okay. They have thousands and thousands of not employees, but 1099 people. All those people need to know how to do acrobatics and handstands and balance and all that stuff.
Okay, so we're not just talking handstands. We're talking about all kinds of flexibility stuff.
He was a handstand coach. That literally is what he did. Okay, but it's a lot of balance is what he teaches people on how to do a handstand. So he found the list. Then he said, I found the second list. I said, who's that? He says, every single cheerleader for Division I schools.
Target market.
So he says, once I found the target market and stopped trying to sell the public, and I just went after those two audiences, I've been booked ever since. So he also has to
spray and pray, right? You deal with too much rejection when you spray and pray.
Yes.
And you can't overcome it, so you stop. Because the biggest struggle right now, Todd, for loan officers is the new ones, honestly, if they're around, they don't really have a struggle. The new ones, if they didn't make it, they didn't make it. If they're around, they're growing. That's what I see.
Yep.
Now, I don't mean every single one of them. Nothing's every single one. So don't check me and say, I know someone who's not doing well. I get it. But the new ones are growing if they're around. The old ones are holding on. And they're trying to find something new. And it ain't new. It's just they stopped acquiring new relationships. And what you're saying is it's because they can't deal with rejection because they don't understand target marketing.
Well, okay. So
I thought that was close. I thought I hit it on that.
I'll tell you guys.
Brother, that was close.
I felt like I was completely in with you, Jimmy. Todd's like, well, not really.
No, not really. Yes.
Okay. So let me tell you guys another story. Jim and Robyn know this, but the public doesn't. So really, I do three things in mortgage. I am CEO of Summit and the retail division. We last year started a wholesale division that deals with brokers doing non-QM loans. That's great. And then I've always done different coaching. So right now, and hopefully this won't come out for a couple of months, but I started this program called Jolt. Jim and Robyn know about it, but it's doing all this target marketing and emails and social media, all this. And I was teaching loan officers how to do it. And I was about 45 days in with 42 clients, and they couldn't get any of it done. It's too technical. They're like, hey, we're not copywriters. We don't know how to do all this stuff. So I called it this emergency meeting with my team. I said, hey, we're doing it wrong. I said, what we need is to do everything for the loan officers. The only thing they got to do is 10 calls a day. And we're going to tell them, we're going to develop the target market. And we're going to tell them the 10 they got to call a day. And that just started. So that's the magic, is knowing how to target market and reach all these people, and then the 10 calls a day and the texting and all this other stuff that we do for them. But they just do the 10 calls. Their goal is to meet with 2. They meet with 2 every single day. They're gonna, that's 10 a week. They're gonna hit it off with 2, and we're gonna start doing business because we teach them how to do the whole process. That's the secret. It's about account acquisition. But if I wasn't right, the average loan officer would have 20 accounts after 10 years in the business. They don't. Now, the top producers, the ones closing double digits still, they got 10, 12, 13 accounts that are sending them business, sometimes more. But by and large, they do not.
Well, the reason they don't is because it's not because they haven't acquired 10 or 13 accounts. It's because you're constantly losing accounts and people just don't realize it.
100%.
Sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it's they get older. Sometimes it's they get wiser. Sometimes they get married and their spouse is rich. There's all kinds of reasons why you lose accounts. And so you have to keep acquiring. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, if you're in our business, for all the reasons Jimmy just said, if you aren't constantly in acquisition mode, you are not going to make a lot of money. Period. This bad market just exemplified that. But
not a bad market.
It's been the same.
Normal market.
It's been the same forever, right?
Good. This is it's for the first time in Sacramento. We're over 2 months inventory, and I do not know how long. I don't know how long. I could only guess. I think it's around 2012. Well, that's 12 years ago. It's a long time since inventory is changing, and being able to be valuable to an agent that represents buyers is becoming extremely valuable. it's going to become more valuable moving forward. So like, it's a good market to be a lender. We're lucky to have the job.
There's one other thing that I just like you guys to speak to. I find a lot of people are not, I sometimes call it charming. You can call it wanting to hang out with you. I find a lot of people aren't charming. I had a guy, in this coaching program, they got to send me videos and they got to leave me voicemails and all kinds of stuff. This guy leaves me a video. So in Jolt, we text 10 people a day a short video and then call him the next day. So he's doing his video. The sun is glaring off his iPhone. When I say this, I am not exaggerating. So you can't really see his face that well. He's got a T-shirt on with a big stain on it. He's talking very monotone. Hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow about this offer, right? I was like, and I'm telling you, that is super common.
Yes.
People are
I
not
was going to say, Jimmy and I are thinking the same thing. There's so much.
So happy right now. Like,
Okay.
my competition thinks.
So to wrap us up, because I think this is important, I want Robyn, you give me 3 ways to be more charming, and then Jim will give us 3 ways to be more charming, and then we'll get out of here. But I think it is so underestimated to be likable. You both do it super well, but most people do not.
One, I think just expression in general, right? I think charming is smiling. I tell loan officers all the time, like, smile, smile, smile. It's insane to me how many people do not smile and how far it goes to just simply smile. And the truth is, if you guys both sat here and smiled for a minute straight, showing your teeth, it is a proven fact that you are happier as a human being. It's a fact.
Yeah.
So why don't we do it more often, right? Like, so I think smiling would be one of mine. I think physical presentation is a really big deal. Like, that's the truth. People don't like to think that that's the case, but if I was in all black, my hair in a messy bun right now, walking around looking frumpy, oversized sweatshirt, something like that, thinking like, hey, come ask me professional advice, or let's talk about something uplifting, or it wouldn't present, right? My brain would not be connected, right? So I think that you have to be looking the part as well. And then the biggest thing that I say every single time is do just the smidge of research. And if you start with compliments, it goes a really long way. Like, I will stop people and say, you know what I love about you? You know what I read about you that you don't even realize? Like, you know what I loved about that? Everyone jokes that when I go meet with clients in the lobby, I'll walk up to the front and the first thing out of my mouth is, I love your hair. Yeah. And then I'm always like, if the spouse is sitting there bald, I'm like, no, I meant hers, not his, and, just whatever it is, like, it's okay to be a little playful with people. And I think that people really struggle sometimes to just be playful.
So compliments, Jess, playful. You said one other one.
Smile.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim?
Sometimes you got to look people in the eye and continue to look them in the eye with a smile. Like, you can't look them in the eye with a mad dog. But if you're trying to be charming and build rapport and you're looking away, it's bad. You got to look them in the eyeballs the whole time. It's not that easy. You're saying, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I'm telling you, pay attention to the people you talk to and find out how often their eyes are wandering. That means you are boring them. That's what they receive, right?
Yeah.
So charming, you got to be looking them in the eye. Number 2 is to smile. And number 3 is to be interested. Authentically interested in them and their story. Authentically interested in them and their story. Their story could be their kids that are with them, the way they proposed to their wife, the house they lost in 2010. Look them in the eye, smile, and be interested, authentically interested. Plus, obviously compliments go a long way for everybody. Authentic compliments.
Yes.
Don't be one of them cheesy salespeople talking about, I love your shirt and it has holes in it. Don't do that. Yeah.
It's true. Sometimes you got to dig a compliment.
I would add one more to all of that, because I 100% agree with all that. I would also, don't be afraid of being direct. I added it up the other day. I've coached over 3,000 loan officers, and the ones that did the best have all the things you just said, and they're also not afraid to be direct. Not
afraid of confrontation. Confrontation is not a bad word.
Yes. Just saying, hey, I need this. Hey, I want this. Hey, I think you're making a mistake on this. When you feel convicted around that and you have the knowledge to back it up. So a lot of people really they stay so surface, and they say they want relationships, but they don't go under the surface, because that's how it happens, is you get confrontational in a healthy way. And a lot of people don't get that. It's a skill you develop. So, okay. So there's some ways to add more new realtors to your business, which, as long as you're going to be in this business, has to happen every day of your life. And once we swallow that pill, you put some process around it, you're going to do great. Not kind of good, you're going to do great. Because there's not many industries where you can pick up a telephone, get to know someone, and they make you $4,000 a month. That's just not common. If it were easy, everyone would do it, right? So, okay. Jim, Robyn, thank you very much. Guys, have a beautiful day. Appreciate you guys listening in us chatterboxes. Bye.